So just unpacking the Great Gate of Kiev. Why would this be written in French? Because Mussorgsky, we know, was Russian, but Mussorgsky wrote it for piano first, and the Frenchman Ravel was the one who orchestrated it, and that's probably the version that we know best today. So you're going to be using this full orchestral score, which looks like a whole lot happening at once. So I'm going to just talk you through a couple of things and a few things you're going to need to go and sort out on your own before you get excited. The first thing to point out is these numbers in a box are not bar numbers, they are rehearsal numbers. So at rehearsal 103, that's the beginning of this, and there are a great then many bars, so you could say rehearsal 103 plus however many bars if you're referring to a specific bar and instrument, and then comes rehearsal 104. So the entire large piece would have a number of rehearsal numbers throughout it. So please don't confuse that. As you can see, rehearsal 104 has about 9 bars before you get to rehearsal 105. Sometimes rehearsal markings are A, B, C, but clearly this one being such a large work, there aren't quite enough letters in the alphabet. Just popping over and looking at something you should have already looked at is the general layout of the orchestral score. You'll notice that this score is written with the instrument names in French, so you're going to have to go and sort out exactly what they are. But the good news is there are rules that we follow, and of course you've seen this. On any orchestral score, I'll just show you these two things here. They are always grouped in this order, and they are always grouped from highest to lowest pitch. So when you're looking to try and find out what an instrument on the score is, even if you are given a score that's in German or is in German, and you don't have any idea what those instruments are, you have plenty of clues to get you there. So we know that the top section is going to be woodwinds, followed by the brass winds. Any kind of percussion, so you'll often find the telltale signs of a single line or 2 lines instead of the full 5 lines. And then you sort of have the grab bag of all the keyboard instruments. Voices go in there, so yes, you would see a chorus appearing in the middle of the score, not at the top. And pretty much anything that doesn't fit into the other categories with the strings on the bottom. Again, we're going from highest to lowest pitch. And they will also be organized with a bracket. So a bracket will be a family of instruments. Again, this is, I know you can go and research what the French names for these things are, but for any score, if you don't know what those names are, you've forgotten what a French name means, you'll know they go from highest to lowest in pitch. You'll know that they'll be grouped together with a bracket. If you see a sub-bracket, that will show that it is the same instrument. You'll have a couple of trumpets, and then the third and fourth trumpets will be playing different lines, but they're all trumpets. And then if you see a brace means one person usually. So right and left hand of a piano or a harp or something like that. So if we go and apply these to the score, you can see that we have these smaller brackets connecting together these instrument parts. So we know, I think it's reasonably obvious that we have flutes here. I don't want to give it away. First and second flutes are on the top, and here we have that little mini bracket. But then working your way down, the hautbois has got to be some kind of woodwind, because that's the top category. There's a clue for you there, huh? And then working your way down. You can't really make assumptions, because especially as you get further down the list, notice also these are all in the treble clef. As you get further down the list, you get some words that look familiar. Cor, chrome, en fa. I wonder what that is. Trumpets, trombones. Sometimes these words in different languages get mixed around. Which one would you expect to be lower down on the list between trumpets and trombones? Well, the trombones make our lower pitch, so they will be underneath the trumpets, and at the very bottom, the trombone and tuba at the bottom of this list. Notice also the clefs. So we would expect a flute to be in treble clef and to play in the key in which the piece is played. The oboe is the same. Clarinets are often in B flat. And so you can see that the instrument key is actually different. So you can't trust the clarinet notes. Clarinets is a transposing instrument. So while a bassoon has the same key signature of the flute, and so when you see a G, bass clef, and you see a G in the bassoon, you will hear a G. But that's not the case with the clarinet. Are there any other transposing instruments? Looks like we have some transposing instruments here. Even though this is in a different clef, This is the tenor clef, which trombones do play in the tenor clef, as well as sometimes bassoons. You'll see that it's still in the same key of 3 flats. Here, some clues that we are in the percussion section. There are those single lines I mentioned, and that's a percussion clef. And then further down, I wonder what that is, joined together with a brace like that. And then at the very bottom, you have this. Altos, I wonder what that is. Let's look here at the alto clef. Which of the strings plays in the alto clef? So that's a broad overview of what you're going to be seeing. Notice that they're all connected together by this big bracket. That means that the entire score is to be read at once. So you'll have this bar, the entirety of this bar is playing together, unless they have rests. The entirety of this bar is playing together, all of this playing at once, and then you go to the next page. So that's an overview of what you're looking for in a score like this, and in general, any score will follow these same rules no matter what language the instruments are in.